In this package, Democracy Day. Tinubu to send executive bill on new minimum wage to National Assembly. Wife of governor takes gender-based violence sensitization to a sane rhythm. Akwa Ibom residents warned against erection of illegal structures on waterways. Akwa Ibom House Committee on Health tasked medical professionals on unity diligence to mitigate issues in health sector. Stay tuned for details of these and other reports in a moment. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the news. My name is Mercy Ikere. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says an executive bill on new minimum wage will soon be sent to the National Assembly. The president stated this as part of his national address to commemorate June 12 Democracy Day. President Tinubu said the new national minimum wage, when agreed upon, will be enshrined, incorporating it into Nigeria's legislation for the next 5 years. It will be recalled that the National Minimum Wage Committee submitted its report to the President on Monday. In the report, the federal government proposed 62,000 minimum wage and organized labor proposed 250,000 naira. Speaking on Democracy Day celebration, President Tinubu reminded Nigerians of the great sacrifices made by Chief Moshood Abiola. He also paid tributes to those he called heroes of democracy who resisted the military regime in their pursuit for democratic struggle. President Tinubu called on Nigerians to support the efforts of his administration in order to strengthen the economy and improve the quality of life for all. President Bola Tinubu has stated that unity of Nigeria cannot be traded. Tinubu, who was speaking at the Presidential Democracy Day dinner yesterday at the banquet hall in the State House, Abuja, pledged to bring Nigeria back to what he termed its glory of harvesting. He described Nigeria's diversity as unending and stated that it is the best path to success. The state government has warned Akwa Ibom residents to desist from embarking on building projects without adequate approval from relevant authorities. The Deputy Governor, Senator Akun Iyangi, gave the warning while interacting with newsmen at Government House Uyu. The Government House reporter Otobi Malkun completes the report.
Senator Yaganyi briefed newsmen that the state government, after due diligence, will bring down some of the buildings erected on waterways, especially in Await Housing Extension and Asongoma Estate. The number 2 citizen noted that the government swing into action on receiving the notification by Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, that Akwa Ibom State is one of the states in Nigeria that would be affected by 2024 flood. She maintained that pre-mitigation measures were put in place to include identification and sensitization where proper information is passed to the people. The Deputy Governor stressed that the government of Akwa Ibom State is particular about safeguarding the lives and property of its citizens.
Please mind where you build your house, where you acquire land. If it is on waterways, don't construct your building there, please. Avoid breaking it down and then you say government has come to demolish. It's better we build in the proper place. And for the agencies that give approval for construction of buildings, ensure what approval you're giving is the right one. Don't like what we saw, that a story building is on the water channel. Approval was given before that person went ahead to do the construction. If we avoid cases like this, what happened last Sunday will not happen in Akwa Ibom State. We need to be conscious. We have to protect ourselves, protect our lives, as government is also protecting us.
On his part, the Commissioner for Works and Fire Service, Professor Yunaibama, pledged his ministry's readiness to take crucial steps to remedying the situation in order to forestall disasters.
The layers of the occupants of the area so that we can identify the areas of drain that we have to move, and by tomorrow definitely we'll start with that without waiting for anything. And everything we are now on an emergency track because rains nobody can predict when it's coming. We do our best and we also report to His Excellency where we need major intervention because as we have observed, we were in the team. Some areas we may need underground drain to take away the water permanently, and we have to do this survey, give a report, and then swing into action. Thank you.
Otabi Mokun, AKBC News.
Meanwhile, the state government has swung into action to address the recent cases of flooding in some parts of the state. Following the directive of the state governor, Pastor Moino, the deputy governor, Senator Akoneyanyi, visited the flooded areas with a view to finding a lasting solution to the menace. Again, the Rimakon reports.
During the visit, the deputy governor expressed the governor's concern for the safety of the people and the need for immediate action to stem the tide of flooding in the state. She again drew the attention of Akwa Ibom people to the 2024 annual flood outlook report released by the federal government, urging environmental friendly behavior and vigilance on the part of the people.
The governor of Akwa Ibom State, as we all know, is a proactive fellow. When he heard this, even before he heard this, he had started the movement to control flood in Akwa Ibom State. The Atiku Abubakar flood area stands as a witness. What he's doing in Odoiwan Bruce Street stands as a witness. And he was to move into Osama Estate for the completion of the roads and the construction or completion of the drains, so that issues like this will not happen. Unfortunately, from the explanation we've heard from the contractor, these two buildings were marked to have been demolished, and if that was done, for this area to be reclaimed and kept as a green area and water properly channeled out, we would not have experienced what we had last Sunday.
The team identified areas that require urgent attention to include Iwit Housing Extension, Osongoma Estate, Imayo Methodist Cathedral, Tiam, Sikaredok Drainage Site, among others. She further said that occupants of some affected buildings would be given a 21-day ultimatum to vacate the structures, while others will have to leave immediately as their lives were in danger. The Deputy Governor urged the desilting operation to clear drains and waterways.
There's been a master plan for this estate originally. And Akwa Ibom State, Uyo in particular, there were specific areas that were identified as drain areas, waterways. And unfortunately, our people will come build on top, like what we are seeing today, to block the flow of water. I stand on the authority of the governor today to say that anyone whose building, whose structure is on the waterway, to block the waterway, the drainage will be brought down.
Accompanying the Deputy Governor during the visit were the Managing Director of Bulletin Construction Company Limited, Chief Faisal Hab, Chairman of Akwa Ibom State Environmental Protection and Waste Management Agency, Obong Prinsikam, and officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, among others. Otwe Mokun, AKBC News.
The campaign to minimize the prevalence of gender-based violence has birthed in a Sinodom local government area with measures to orientate minds, foster peace in homes and society at large. Members of the State Gender-Based Violence Committee were led by the Secretary, Mrs. M. Ete, and stakeholders from a Sinodom local government area led by the wife of the Chairman of the Transition Committee, Mrs. Anthony Luke, who stormed the Ikwenang market to sensitize the market community on the ills associated with GBV. The sensitization exposed the market community to the content of the VAP law, its offenses and punishments, while expressing displeasure at people who engage in rape, battery, harmful traditional practices, domestic violence, among others. The speakers warned that there will be no room for sacred cows. They enjoined all to rise to the responsibility of reporting crimes in their neighborhood for the law to take its course.
Of gender-based violence against women, against children, against men also. So if you're so maybe you died. And I still make any serious to me what because and I'm doing never and I even get to and to me by neighbor and I'm going maybe back ever you won't walk again even with me on game. I will get a man who 20 years. Iminian bet I'm a more wounded to my work and Canuba. Iminian wet arm of more wounded now work and Canuba. I thought you come back and read. Iminian better than a man me by I don't know what. Away back back a bear walk back. I focus young one I did about one mentor. I don't need more daddy. Iminian better will mom fiend. Iminian better than I can move yet. I don't want I didn't go for officers as I get. Oh, you have one friend on one I know what you may be. Ever good I wrote if I know who I'm about. Kid, I might eat me go rag. I won't, mom, get your cover.
Nigerian Army begins live firing exercise at Wellington Basi Barracks, Bawa, in a back local government area. This plus other reports in the next lap of our news, which comes up after this time out this day. The chairman of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Health, Mr. Moses Isin, says the solution to Nigerians' problem in the health sector can be achieved faster if medical professionals unite to build the sector rather than emigrating in search of greener pastures. Mr. Isin was speaking to the leadership of the Nigeria Union of Allied Health Professionals, Hospitals Management Board, and the Ministry of Health, Akwa Ibom State Civil Service Unit. Legislative Affairs reporter Uyuko Swa completes the story.
The Ibom State constituency legislator said the effort of the Akwa Ibom State government at building and equipping more health centers and rehabilitating already existent ones will not yield the expected results if professionals expected to administer the facilities massively exit the state and country. Essien emphasized that the greatest act of patriotism is to develop, build and contribute to the growth of a system that trained and molded you while rendering services to those in need of them.
Please, beg our people, let us collectively build the health sector of Akwa Ibom State and professional training. The government of Akwa Ibom State is trying to put some nursing missionaries, to put some incentive to health professionals, to give them the nursing motivation. We need to build our home, we need to build our village, we need to build our community. If we got training here and decide to go and render the services outside the country, what benefit are we doing to our people?
While commending the group for keeping abreast with the Omono administration's strides in the health sector, Mr. Sen sued for patience, noting that despite manpower shortages, the system can only employ based on available resources and balance in other sectors.
My communication is going to be sustained with the Commissioner, and of course we don't. But yes, I want us to also be realistic. You must understand, apart from the health sector of the state, we also have other sectors or components of the state that make up the economy. And so, if all the money is standing to health and other sectors are ignored, it won't be good for us.
On their complaints about non-implementation of consultancy cadre for pharmacists in the state and their efforts to stem quackery in their profession, the lawmaker promised to liaise with relevant stakeholders to support their efforts. He promised to support the group's plan for a free medical outreach targeted at a vulnerable and remote location. On legislation to support the health sector, the House Committee on Health chairman said a bill for a law to prohibit discrimination against persons living with HIV and AIDS had already passed second reading and assured of other laws to support the sector. Earlier, the leader of the delegation, Mr. Kerete Bassi, said the group was at the assembly to intimate the health community of several issues of concern in the sector, including the shortage of manpower, especially medical laboratory scientists, pharmacists, radiographers, biomedical engineers, dietitians, physiotherapists, optometrists, health information officers, and dental therapists. The event featured the conferment of patronship of the group on Mr. Moses Essien in recognition of his contributions to the development of the health sector in Akwa Ibom State. Uyuko Swa, AKBC News.
To complement the federal and state government's efforts in alleviating the sufferings in society, Aliko Dangote Foundation, through the African Human Development Center, has distributed quantities of rice to vulnerable people in the 31 local government areas of the state. The palliatives, tagged Aliko Dangote Foundation National Food Intervention Program, is mainly targeted at the most vulnerable in society.
Distributing the palliatives to the most vulnerable in Eastern Obolo local government area, the Chief Executive Officer of African Human Development Center, Professor Gabriel Omo, said the gesture by Aliko Dangote through the center was part of his company's efforts in giving succor to the needy. According to Professor Gabriel, the state government is aware of donations and used the opportunity to laud the governor, Pastor Omoeno, for the necessary support, and the community members in each of the wards visited for their cooperation.
We are here to do what Aliko Dangote Foundation said we should do. We are asked to distribute 15,000 bags of rice, 10 kilogram bag of rice, throughout Akwa Ibom State, 31 local governments. The governor has given us all the necessary support.
In appreciation, the transition chairman of Eastern Obolo local government area, Mr. Uro Bills Nango, on behalf of the people, applauded the Aliko Dangote Foundation and the African Human Development Center for remembering the most vulnerable in the area, urging them to maintain the tempo.
In support of what the governor is doing, our brother Dangote has now sent our professor to bring this for us. On behalf of the good people of Isno, we are very grateful.
Some of the beneficiaries at the different wards visited thanked the Dangote Foundation and the African Human Development Center for attracting the gesture to the local government.
The
African Human Development Center later moved to Ikorabasi local government area to pay homage to the paramount ruler of the area, His Royal Majesty Didem Udo John Tokobum, in his palace. Welcoming the team, the paramount ruler of Ikorabasi local government area, His Royal Majesty Didem Tokobum, lauded the Aliko Dangote Foundation and Professor Gabriel Umor for feeling the pulse of the people in need.
So we thank the organization and Dangote for the human feelings it's having. It's not the only one that has money in this country. Others have money. They don't have human feelings. And so they could not do anything to help the poor.
In the last few years, there has been a remarkable reduction in the fears and myths associated with family planning in Akwa Ibom State. This is due to the attention given by the issue by health workers, resulting in favorable report on the behavioral change towards family planning. The report was made available to newsmen at a one-day supervision and media tour by the Challenge Initiative.
The Challenge Initiative, through her director, Dr. Taiwo Thompson, lauded the Akwa Ibom State government for providing enabling environment for donor agencies to scale up family planning in the states, and also commended the health workers at both centers, adjudging their commitment to work as impressive. Dr. Johnson, however, expressed concern over the sustainability of the program with regards to funding to ensure family planning remains free and attainable at the expiration of TCI intervention in the state by September 2025. She pointed out that the 13% federal government support was not enough without the state's share.
Activities that have been globally found to work for family planning. And so, in working with the states, we work with them, we support them to implement these high-impact practices with the hope that they will institutionalize these high-impact practices and continue them when TCI leaves. So that is the essence. And
responding, the State Family Planning Coordinator, Mrs. Enobongeshet, said government is making effort to sustain the project beyond 2025.
What we are doing now is to advocate to government and also to NGOs to seek for their support through our advocacy core group, so that we can see how we can harness enough hands to be able to support however they can, at least to help us.
Those who also stress the need for government ownership and sustainability include Mr. Ian Salas, TCI Monitoring, Evaluation and Accountability Lead, Health Institute, USA, alongside Mr. Oluwaseun Akintola, TCI Technical Advisor, Research Monitoring and Evaluation. Aside fielding questions from the TCI visiting teams, healthcare providers at the Primary Health Care Center, Iwerofort, and Primary Health Care Center, Kodebiroku, Uyo local government area, lauded the donor agency for their intervention in family planning and reproductive health, which has led to positive behavioral change amongst women of reproductive age in the states.
Itam Secondary School Students Association, ISOSA, has undertaken a tour of infrastructure in Her Alma Mater, established since 1963 with a view to giving a facelift to it. The international president of ISOSA, Ambassador Obut, accompanied by members of the association, were led on the tour by the Principal General of the school, Elder Ime Nkang. Uforo Dokang has the details.
Itam Secondary School in its local government area has had several outstanding individuals as products of the school since its formation. As a way of appreciating the contributions of their alma mater, the old students of the school weekend visited their former hostel blocks, refectory, classrooms, and staff quarters to assess the level of decayed infrastructure with a view to renovating and equipping them to complement government's effort in providing quality education for the citizenry. Although there have been renovations on some classroom blocks since the school was established 61 years ago, the team observed that more needs to be done. The international president of ISOSA, Ambassador Obot, in an interview with AKBC News after the tour, said the level of decaying infrastructure was beyond ISOSA as an association and solicited the state government's intervention.
Wherever I am today, this is where I was molded. So there is no way I will not come back here to show appreciation, to give back to the place that molded me.
The principal of the school, Elder Imenkan, who briefed members of ISOSA on other challenges of the school, listed land encroachment and other activities of called groups who take advantage of the porous nature of the school to hold meetings, and requested for building of perimeter fence of the entire institution.
So you consider the number of years, you'll see that that's stayed for a very long time. So most of the facilities have been dilapidated.
Members of ISOSA had earlier held an interdenominational Thanksgiving service in the school on the theme Amazing Grace to appreciate God for a successful 2023 end of year reunion. The international president of the association, Ambassador Obot, who appreciated members for turning up for the event, said together they will restore the lost glory of their alma mater.
After a successful 2023 end of year reunion, it was necessary to appreciate God for His grace and mercies towards us.
The Reverend Commander Ane Kanabasi Upo, in his exhortation, spoke on the power and blessings of thanksgiving, where he admonished them to continually appreciate God in spite of what they pass through in contributing to their alma mater. Some members of the association appreciated God this way.
But on behalf of ISOSA and all of us seated here, return all praises to our Almighty God.
High points of the events were inauguration of 5-member executive of ISOSA for Itu Chapter, with Dr. Maureen Usoro as chairman, intercessory prayers for members, and choir rendition by students of the school. AKBC News.
Our non-governmental organization, Prince Achebong Life Foundation, has so far empowered over 100,000 Nigerians to boost their businesses and be financially independent. The international coordinator of the foundation, Mr. Uduaghabong Akpan, made this known while briefing newsmen in Uyo. Mr. Akpan opined that the foundation has provided scholarships to 300 indigent students up to tertiary level and given students study grants. Other interventions by the foundation are financial donation to vulnerable women, provision of agricultural support to farmers, donation of food items, wrappers to women, provision of boreholes, electricity, and street lights in communities. According to the international coordinator, the foundation also donated cars and motorcycles to youth support groups, individuals, churches, among others. Mr. Kman said the foundation has been at the forefront of empowering individuals to reach their potentials through a diverse range of initiatives spanning mentorship, skills development, and entrepreneurship. The international coordinator maintained that one of the core characteristics of the foundation was the belief in the power of empowerment towards the transformation of lives. Mr. Kwan gave the assurance that the Prince Achebong Foundation would continue to inspire hope, instill confidence, and catalyze meaningful changes in communities around the globe. Meanwhile, the Prince Achibong Life Foundation has identified with the state governor, Pastor Moino, on his first year anniversary, saying that the governor has justified the confidence reposed on him by a Akwa electorate.
Future generations, future entrepreneurs, chieftains in industry, and then professionals in different skills, as in engineers, barristers, and every other profession that we know, those ones that we have been able to train in school, will come out to impact the society. So we are looking at between now between 2030 that the foundation at least will be able to touch up to 10,500. That is the projection of the foundation.
The 6th Battalion Nigerian Army will be conducting a live firing exercise scheduled to hold from Thursday 13th to Friday 14th June 2024. This was contained in a release signed by Lieutenant A. Abubakar for commanding officer. According to the release, the exercise will be conducted at the 6th Battalion Range, Wellington Basi Barracks, Ibawa, Abak Local Government Area, from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening daily. The release notes that the exercise involves live ammunition and requests inhabitants of Ibawa, Ikorokbong, Okon, Ikorofa, Brakom, Itong, and Ikanang villages to keep off the range area throughout the duration of the exercise to avoid unwanted incidents. Furthermore, the release urges the public and inhabitants of the listed villages not to panic, as the live firing is a routine military exercise. The wife of Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Patience Umoino has expressed her condolences to one of her staff, Miss Mercy Udoikong, on the demise of her father, the late Deacon Jacob Udoikong, who was aged 75. The governor's wife urged the bereaved family to uphold the legacies bequeathed to them by their father as a means of immortalizing his sterling leadership qualities. She delivered her condolence message during the funeral conducted by the Akwa Ibom Church, Ikorepenudo Ndoedo Superintendency at St. John's Primary School. Margaret Bassey reports.
The governor's wife, who was represented by the Commissioner for Water Resources and Sanitation, Mrs. Enobong Mbobo, described the late deacon of Akwa Ibom Church as a devout man who served God faithfully as a choir master and deacon and participated dutifully in the activities of the church. She urged them to draw consolation from the fact that their late father, who was a community leader, exhibited the virtues of peace, love, and humanity, had left behind legacies of compassion, wisdom, and dedication. Acknowledging the significant loss suffered by the deceased family and Nserubiom local government area at large, the First Lady encouraged them to be strengthened in the Word of God and hope of a reunion on Resurrection morning.
While the pain of losing a loved one may not completely fade, I believe that as a Christian, you will be strengthened in the faith that after death is eternity, where we shall all meet again to part no more. Therefore, as you grieve over his demise, I enjoin you to take consolation in the hope of resurrection in Christ Jesus.
Reverend Friday Michael of Akwa Ibom Church, Nigeria, Ikorekpenudo, in a sermon titled Judgment of the Dead, highlighted the certainty of death, emphasizing that it cannot be postponed when the time arrives. He underscored the certainty of universal accountability at the judgment throne, urging all to submit to God, find contentment, trust in Him, love one another, and work towards making heaven.
So we gonna give away life, but he come and send out Galatians chapter 9 verse 5 that the living know that they will die. It's appointed unto man to die once, then after the judgment.
The funeral featured thanksgiving by the bereaved family and songs by different choir groups. Margaret Bassi, AKBC News.
And on that note, we conclude our package tonight. Many thanks for your time. My name is Mercy Ikere, and here's wishing you a pleasant night rest.